Okay, so it seems like recently there's been a little bit of a situation going down with Hololive and Matsuri, who obviously is one of the first generation VTubers for Hololive and yeah, debuted back in 2018. Now, it seems like there has been a slight announcement that has caused a little bit of controversy, I would say, in the space. I'd say controversy, it's really not that big of a deal, but it definitely has had some people talking, at least. And yeah, recently there was this announcement that came out over on her Twitter saying, I think opposite sex collabs, self-initiated collabs, will be ending by the end of this month. For the finale, I've got plans with that person, so please look forward to it. So yeah, a lot of people have been looking at this because it seems like she will no longer be doing you know, collabs with males. That's essentially it, right? And it is pretty interesting because obviously Rima has also made a post about this saying, Hololive VTuber Matsuri announced that starting at the end of the month, she will no longer be doing collabs with members of the opposite gender. She emphasized that this was her own decision and noted that there is still one more collab before then. She also said that she has not been really interacting with anyone outside of projects and tournaments anyways, and that this decision came as the result of various factors. Now, again, I don't know what these factors were and what actually led to this decision, but at the end of the day, I think it is her decision, right? And what I think a lot of people have been discussing, especially in these comments here, many people have been, you know, saying like, why did this need a formal announcement, right? And yeah, I think it is pretty interesting because, of course, it seems like, you know, a lot of VTubers, they tend to, you know, especially female VTubers or even male VTubers actually, you know, a lot of them do tend to hang out with the same gender, same sex or whatever you want to call it, right? And they do, you know, like to just interact with them, and they never really make a big deal out of it, right? They never say, I'm not ever collabing with, you know, any males or women or whatever side you're on, the opposite. But yeah, they just kind of do it, right? And even if you did used to do it and then you're like planning on not doing it, usually people wouldn't announce that. They would just do it, right? And people would notice, oh, it seems like she's hanging out with less men. I guess that's probably, you know, due to a decision on her own. But now that this announcement has come out, of course, this has brought a lot of attention to it and obviously made things, I guess, a little bit worse for a decision that probably could have been done pretty quietly, right? And again, you know, this was the follow-up thing saying, to be honest, I haven't been interacting with anyone outside, you know, so this is an important result of trying various things and thinking it over. The most important thing is Matsuri Su, so even if my activities continue and things might change in the future, I'd be thrilled if you could stick around loosely and for the long haul. So yeah, obviously there's been a lot of comments from the Japanese audience as well saying the opposite sex collabs are going to disappear. Huh? I wonder who I'll collab with now. You know, some people as well are saying, oh god, now I can't collab with her. You know, my time is over, which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, some people as well here saying, if it were the caster Archer Sam we owe so much to, it'd be hilarious, lol. She was saying stuff like, I tried dancing to that festival song, right? Which obviously they're talking about, I'm pretty sure the last person that she's going to collab with, saying a little sad, you know. Some people, you know, asking questions saying, does that mean the collaborations within my own group will disappear? Will game tournaments continue as usual? Or is it like inviting same-sex people when reaching out and joining if invited? Which, yeah, a lot of people are asking questions about tournaments, right? If she does enter any kind of tournaments, will that be with people of the opposite sex or not? Which I guess is a valid question, right? But I'm pretty sure it will be fine. I think tournaments and stuff are fine. I think it's mainly like one-on-one collaborations, you know, on stream, right? More people saying, huh, why? But if it's independent, that means if there's an invitation, we can collaborate, right? Which, yeah, obviously many people have been discussing that side of things, as well as over on the Rima post, the kind of English side of things. People say she has a boyfriend, good for her, which obviously, you know, maybe is the case, right? I don't know. I don't know anything about her personal life. But again, a lot of people have been kind of speculating what this factor could be. You know, what exactly has changed their mind so much in regards to collabing with males or not. But again, maybe it's due to some experiences. And of course, I think that it's not exactly the most terrible decision ever, because there has been situations in the past, not necessarily with Hololive, but with other VTuber spaces of people getting weird whenever it comes to, you know, males, right? And actually even within Hololive as well, to be honest, you know, there has been a lot of fans who maybe get jealous of a male VTuber collabing with a female VTuber because they're extremely parasocial to the point you know, where they're like, oh my god, I can't believe, you know, my wife would do this, right? When obviously it's just a random person on the internet. And also as well, you have the kind of, you know, for example, we've had a lot of stuff with Niji Sanji, right, of male VTubers being a little bit weird, right? But again, that's not to say that it's every single male, so I don't think that would be the reason, but I can understand the reason for the fans' sake, for the Parasocial fans' sake, in terms of trying to, I guess, quell any kind of rumors or anything of certain relationships between VTubers, because sometimes it can make things weird, right? And maybe just kind of not doing it all together can kind of, you know, stop that out, I guess. But again, I don't know. She hasn't really specified what the reason is, so of course people have, yeah, been very interested in that. Callie asked for people not to request collabs with men. To be honest, I'm genuinely curious as to why, if it's just being uncomfortable, if there is more to it. Obviously, people have been replying to that saying Parasocial fans would be outraged about another male interacting with Orochi, so instead of having to deal with all the drama, they just opt to cut out potential collabs instead. Which, yeah, that's exactly what, you know, I was saying earlier, saying many of these idols and VTubers and co sell a fantasy of being available and a potential girlfriend. Which obviously, yeah, that could also be another case, right? A lot of holo girls have been in the game a while, and the older ones like Callie and Kiara came from other performance jobs in Japan, so have likely had to deal with a lot of harassment and stuff from men producers old enough to be their dad and granddad. I think I get it, which, again, that could be the case, but I'm not too sure. I don't think necessarily it's the case of you know, creepy producers or whatever. I doubt that's the case. You know, maybe they have dealt with it before in their own jobs and things before Hololive, but I think that it is probably due to, at least my guess would be due to Parasocial fans getting weird and essentially just cutting out any kind of drama that might come from that, even if, you know, it does suck to kind of not collaborate with men because of that. And I think it can be the same for the other way around as well. We've seen how much a lot of popular male VTubers, you know, how much kind of harassment a lot of female VTubers get whenever their fans also go up against them. And that also sometimes tends to, you know, lead a male VTuber to not interacting with female VTubers, which, of course, yeah, can create a bit of a, I guess, yeah, an issue, and so they end up just cutting it out so that there's no drama, right? People saying kind of weird. She recently announced on her IRL account that she's now actively looking for a marriage partner, which, you know, obviously maybe that, you know, a lot of Parasocial people could see that and say that, hey, you know, oh, she's collabing with this person, that means she sees them as a potential partner or whatever, which of course would get weird, right? Saying, I would never forget how funny her GTRP moment. She legitimately had fun there. Obviously, there is more to this that we don't know. So the decision by itself is fine. It probably would have been better just to kind of play this silently, shelve future male collabs. Though saying multiple reasons makes me wonder if it was obsessed fans or something more insidious, right? And yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think the wording of it, in terms of the fact that, you know, she's saying there's multiple factors and things like that, makes me think that something has happened, or maybe something, or has, again, that something is going on. I don't know what it is. None of us know what it is, whether it's creepy fans, whether it's something else, right? We don't know. But of course, it seems like, you know, the wording of many factors tells me maybe something has gone on. Maybe something has happened that has caused her to maybe not want to interact with males on stream as much or anymore, right? Who's saying, I'm not bothered, it's up to you, the creator, what content you want to make. But it's kind of weird that you would announce something like this, though. Do people specifically clamor her for her to collab with male VTubers? So I guess it's more to not be bothered when people start to realize, which, yeah, that can also be a factor. I think that is also a good point, right? I think there is a lot of, you know, this discussion of people asking for like collaborations. So that, you know, if a lot of people were asking them to collaborate with a lot of male VTubers, then of course it's going to get a little bit awkward, because if she hasn't told anybody that she's not collabing with them anymore, then, you know, you're going to have so many collab requests for male VTubers building up and up and up. People are going to constantly ask, and you're going to have to kind of play it off every single time and almost lie, which I think obviously isn't exactly the best case scenario. So I think maybe it's also to save that from happening. So now that people know that she is not collabing with male VTubers, you know, the chat should suggest them less. Because obviously that does happen quite a lot in the VTubing space, is that people get suggested collabs, right? And saying, you should collab with this person or that person, right? And so it would be pretty awkward if a lot of them were males. And obviously, as we know, she doesn't want to collab with males going forwards. as well, right? And so she rarely collabs with males anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But going as far as not interacting with them at all, question mark, which obviously, yeah, if you say she also has been talking to girls, I mean, yeah, apparently, you know, there hasn't been much collabs in the first place. But again, I don't know. We'll have to see what kind of happens. But I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. A lot of people have been trying to make this out to be something terrible. I don't think this is. You know, if there is a situation that has happened that has caused this, then hopefully, you know, I hope that things get better in that regards. But in terms of actually, you know, not interacting with males on her stream anymore, I don't think that's the worst decision in the world. It's her personal decision at the end of the day, and I don't think she should be you know, ridiculed for it or whatever. But yeah, I do think it is just interesting to see, you know, what has actually caused this. You know, has there been something that's going on? And of course, you know, if we do get information of that, then I will let you know. But so far, all we know is that she won't be collaborating with men on stream anymore, starting what, next month, the start of next month, yeah, end of this month. So again, yeah, that's about it. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kazo, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.